Daf Yomi, Tractate Menachot, page 22a. 22 B'Shvat. It's today. Starting with 22a. Menachot 22 on the top. Ki zakiluhu rachmana l'Yisrael. Disluhu lishkal kohanim delesluhu lishkal ozachiluhu rachmana kamashmalam. When the merciful one granted the Jewish people the right to use the salt when eating their offerings, he granted this to Israelites who have an obligation to donate their half shekels to the chamber, as this fund supplies the salt that is applied to the offerings. With regard to the priests, who do not have an obligation to donate their half shekels to the chamber, the merciful one did not grant them the right to make use of the salt. I didn't know that. The priests don't have the right to use salt? This is news to me. To counter this, the Mishnah in Tractate Shekalim teaches us that the court granted to the priests the right to use the salt when eating their offering. Oh, they do have the right to use the salt, but they didn't initially have it? That doesn't make sense to me. Why would the priests not have right to use salt? Doesn't make one bit of sense to me. Doesn't make dollars either, so, so makes things all even. To counter this, the Mishnah in Tractate Shekalim alright, okay. Beitzim de Peshitale Latana de Mishal Tzibo Minalan de Tanya Yacholoi Melchaese Oila Harei Alai Oila Yovietzim Toch Beisoi Kederech Shemevin Sochin Toch Beisoi Taveloi Mal Al Eitzim Asher Al Aish Asher Al Mizbeach Ma Mizbeach Bishal Tzibo Afeitzim Beish Mishal Tzibo Divrei Rabbi Elazar Bar Rabbi Shimon. The Gemara asks, and with regard to the wood, concerning which it is obvious to the Tana of the Braita that it is brought from communal supplies. From where do we derive this halacha? The Gemara answers, as it is taught in a Braita, one might have thought that one who says it is incumbent upon me to bring a burnt offering must bring wood from his home on which the burnt offering will be sacrificed, just as he brings libations from his home along with the burnt offering. See Numbers chapter 15. Therefore, the verse states, with regard to the burnt offering, on the wood that is on the fire which is upon the altar, Leviticus 1:12, the Torah juxtaposes the wood to the altar, teaching that just as the altar was built from communal funds, so too the wood and fire are brought from the communal supplies. This is the statement of Rabbi Elazar bar Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Elazar ben Shmuel Omer, Ma mizbeach shelo nishtamesh bo hedyot, afeitzim v'eish shelo nishtamesh bohen hedyot, my binayu ikabinayu chadete. The Braita continues, Rabbi Elazar ben Shmuel says, just as the altar was not used by an ordinary person as it was built for the purpose of serving as an altar for God, so too the wood and fire should not have been used previously by an ordinary person, so one does not bring the wood from his home. The Gemara asks, what is the difference between the two opinions? The Gemara answers, the difference between the two is whether there is a requirement that the wood would be new. That the wood be new, meaning that it had never been used. According to the opinion of Rabbi Elazar ben Rabbi Shimon, the wood is fit, provided that it comes from communal supplies, even if it is not new wood, whereas according to Rabbi Elazar ben Shammua, it must be new wood. Ve'atike la yachsiv vayomer Aravna el David ייקח ויעל אדוני המלך הטוי בעינו ראי הבוקר לאוילה והמויריגים וכלי הבוקר לעצים אוכנמי בחדיתה. The Gemara asks, And is it in fact the halacha that old, meaning previously used wood, is not fit to be burned on the altar? But isn't it written, and Aravna said to David, let my lord the king take and offer up what seems good to him. Behold, the oxen for the burnt offering and the threshing instruments and the equipment of the oxen for the wood. 2 Samuel 24:22. Despite the fact that the threshing instruments and equipment of the oxen have been used previously, apparently they are fit to be used when offering a burnt offering. The Gemara answers, here too, the verse is speaking of new instruments and equipment that had not been previously used. Okay. My morigim אמרו לה מיתה של תרבל. מה המיתה של תרבל? אמר יהודה איזה דקורקסה דידה שובה דשתאי. אמר יוסף מה יקרו? הנה שמתיך למורג חרוץ חדש בעל פיפיוס תדוש הרים. Tangentially, the Gemara asks, what is the meaning of the term morigim mentioned in this verse? Ula said, it is a turbal bed. This was not a well-known expression in Babylonia, so the Gemara asks, what is a turbal bed? Rabbi Yehuda said, it is referring to a serrated board that the threshers use for threshing, which is dragged over the grain by an animal in order to separate the kernels from the stalks. Rabbi Yosef said, what is the verse from which the meaning of morigim is derived? Is a verse that states, behold, I have made you a new threshing sledge, marag, having sharp teeth. You shall thresh the mountains. Isaiah 41:15. And that's it for the Talmud, folks. New Mishnah. Zog the Heilige Mishnah, Nisarev Kumza, Bekoimetz Chaverta, Beminchas Kohanim, Beminchas Kohen Mashiach, Beminchas Nisachim Geshero. If a handful of one meal offering, which is to be burned on the altar, was intermingled with a handful of another meal offering, or with the meal offering of priests, or with the meal offering of the anointed priest, meaning the high priest, or with the meal offering of libations accompanying burnt offerings and peace offerings, all of which are burned in their entirety on the altar, it is fit for sacrifice, and the mixture is burned on the altar. Yehuda Omer, Beminchas Kohen Mashiach, Beminchas Nisachim Besula Shezo Beliloso, Abba Bezo Beliloso Rako. Vehein Boilois Zomizo. But Yehuda says, if the handful was intermingled with the meal offering of an anointed priest, or with the meal offering of libations, the mixture is unfit because, with regard to this, the handful from the standard meal offering, its mixture is thick, 1 log of oil mixed with 1/10 of an ephah of flour, and with regard to that, the meal offering of the anointed priest and the meal offering of libations, its mixture is loose, 3 log of oil mixed with 1/10 of an ephah of flour, and the mixtures, which are not identical, absorb from each other, increasing the amount of oil in the handful and decreasing the amount of oil in the meal offering of the anointed priest or the meal offering of libations, thereby invalidating both. Okay, that's the Mishnah. Now the Talmud. Zog the Heilige Talmud. The Gemara says, Tanan Hasam, Tam shnisori v'mayim, im yesh, boi maris dam, kosher, ניסורי ביין רואים עושה כאילו הוא מים, ניסורי בדם בהמה ובדם חיו רואים עושה כאילו הוא מים, או Yehuda אומר אין דם בבטל דם. We learned it in the Mishnah there, in Zvachim 77b, in the case of blood of an offering fit for sacrifice that was mixed with water. If the mixture has the appearance of blood, it is fit for presenting on the altar, even though the majority of the mixture is water. If the blood was mixed with red wine, one views the wine as though it were water. If that amount of water would leave the mixture with the appearance of blood, it is fit for presentation. Likewise, if the blood was mixed with the blood of a non-sacred domesticated animal, or the blood of a non-sacred undomesticated animal, one considers the blood as though it were water. Rabbi Yehuda says, blood does not nullify blood. Therefore, the priest presents the blood of the mixture on the altar, regardless of the ratio of sacred to non-sacred blood. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, ושניהם יקרא אחד דרשו, ולא כך מדם הפר מדם הסויר. הדבר ידוע שדמו של פר מעובע מדמו של סויר. רבנן סברי. Returning now to 22b. מכאן לאוילין שאין מבטלין זה ורבי יהודה סובר מכאן למין במינוי שאינו בוטל. Rabbi Yochanan says, and both the first Tana and Rabbi Yehuda derive their opinions from one verse. With regard to the sacrificial rites performed by the high priest on Yom Kippur, the Torah teaches that after sprinkling of the blood of the bull and of the goat separately between the staves of the ark and on the curtain, the blood of the two animals is mixed together and presented on the golden altar inside the sanctuary. The verse states, and he shall take of the blood of the bull and of the blood of the goat and put it on the corners of the altar. Leviticus 16:18. It is a known matter that the blood of the bull is more than the blood of the goat. Why then is the blood of the goat not nullified? Rabbi Yochanan explains, the rabbis, meaning the first Tana, hold, now 22b. From here it is learned that with regard to a mixture of items that ascend to the altar, for example, blood of the bull and the goat, the different components of the mixture do not nullify one another. And Rabbi Yehuda holds, from here it is learned that any substance in contact with the same type of substance is not nullified. Okay, we'll stop here. Continue on the next Amud.